Okay, we've restarted. My computer is not, it's got so many little processes that it runs now that it takes forever. And it does not help at all if I test to see if the pin works by accidentally clicking over here and launching one of my Adobe products that hasn't been launched in a long time. That that was unpleasant. So an unpleasant restart has occurred, but we're back on and running. So I apologize for that, guys. Sorry about that, but we're back. And Brent is here too, and I have no fear because Brent is here. Alrighty. So yesterday we did some work for Geekway Homes. And today, we're going to do a couple of other things. Is it not running on my art page? Did Restream get really confused? Let's see what its setup says. That's all right. David, just do what you can, man. Yeah, I mean, this is modern technology. Well, it says that two of you are coming in from my Facebook GS Davis page. One of you is coming in from my normal page. That's what it's saying. Oh, okay. Just not getting a notification, I can totally understand and respect. That happens. That happens a lot. It happens a lot in my world, too. So, okay. Yeah, this has been quite a morning. It's a interesting thing. I didn't have pen touch. The pen wasn't making any contact on the screen. And so I can't do any work if I have no pen touch. So it was like, well, let's figure this out. So my Twitch is not up, huh? And it says that I'm connected, although it says somebody's on Twitch watching me. Is that you? Yeah. That's weird. I think dumping the stream and restarting the stream has confused our poor... Yeah. You ever tried to draw with the mouse? Ugh. I think it's confused a lot of things. Urete. So, we'll go back in here. Let's see what we got going on here. Board. So we can start working on Ron's Airship 27 stuff soon too. Well, somebody's coming in via Twitch. Getting nothing on any other destinations though. I mean, other than my GS Davis Facebook page. That's probably the only one I've got. That's alright. There it is. Okay. Everything's up and working now. Weird. Wonder what the lag time is, because of course I'm sitting here going, but Brent, it's showing here. That's probably just you. But it's a lag between everything here. It's just really funny. I'm humored. I am very humored by all of this. All right. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I think I've messed with it by... I have to see. Oh, man, they're mowing the grass again. I think we've messed with it by stopping the stream and restarting the stream. So, I think we got to go past that here. Ooh, rete. So we got an okay on the concept boards for, wow, 28 seconds. Oh, yeah. Because we were watching a launch and you were watching it with us. That's kind of fun. So let's go on ahead and launch. Let's take a look at our concept boards. We're going to launch Photoshop. A restart actually is very good for me because my computer cannot restart with chips or anything in the USB ports. And my camera's primary chip was in the USB port. And I've got a photo shoot today, so I want to make sure that my chip is not, in fact, dead. So we've got an almost 30-second lag on Facebook. That's interesting. Okay, let's take a look here. About the same amount of time it takes to get a message to the moon and back. No, more like Mars. Mars and back. About the same amount of time it takes to get to Mars and back. Depending on where Mars is, of course. If Mars is on the other side of the sun, it takes a long time. Well, like I said, depends on where Mars is on its orbital run. All right, what we got here is, let me go ahead and flatten this out. So this is a concept board which shows all of our concepts. We're going to go ahead and work on one of these pieces today. I'm going to start with this piece right over here. So we're going to take number 2, start in order. Okay. I'm going to copy. Create a new one. These are 6x9 boards. So we're going to do inches. And because of the nature of a lot of this artwork, I don't want to run it at 300 DPI. They're going to run it at 300 DPI when they get there. 900. We're going to run it at 600 DPI. Create a new board. I'm going to paste this prototype in. All right, we're just going to stick it right in here. And this becomes sort of our blue line, but I'm not 100% sure this is where we're going to keep it. We'll see. But I am going to not fight with the gradient. I'm not fighting with your gradient. Not today. Not on my watch. Or my bracelet. All right. So, first things first, let's lay in let's have a problem with this not being a brush tool. Let's lay in the perspective. Really? And I'm just going to get my color swatches out here. I'm going to go ahead and... Boy, I feel like I'm just not with it today. Okay, here we go. Checking our line. Here's our horizon line. It's actually a good thing we did this because it looks like my buildings don't meet the horizon line. So let's double check our horizon lines. Alright, so the street. We'll go to here. All I'm doing here is just checking to my vanishing point. My vanishing point's here. So we want as much... I don't feel like the vanishing point's even here, now looking at it. So let's give ourselves a little more weight on the line. Wet a point. So a 20-point line is going to be pretty thick. And wherever you place your horizon line on here, your character is going to respond accordingly. So I'm going to place my horizon line right here on the white paper. And I really just don't care, I don't think. Maybe I care. Okay, I care. Horizon line. I feel like I'm starting over all the time. I think when we look at these characters and what they're doing, we should be looking up at the characters. So I'm going to move the horizon line down like this. Okay, this is going to make everything from the dynamics of this picture go up. We're going to be looking up at the characters. They are larger than life to some degree. And so we're looking up at them. Now around the horizon line, I feel like vanishing point's actually probably over here somewhere, almost. I want to say that. Even though we're not going to run the I kind of wish I could. So I'm just going to put the vanishing point out here, right? Glad Photoshop used to not let me do this. Right? Let's see what happens with my vanishing point out there. Like that. So now everything's going to head towards there. And this is where you ask your question, did you do it right? I'm fascinated by the delay on these things. Okay, so we're coming along here. We're doing this. We got like this vanishing point sort of thing. This set of buildings that are in front. And we take a look and then check it, right? What does this look like? Well, that's not what we're looking for, I don't think. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just put the vanishing point in the middle and be happy with it. Like right here. I think it is too. I think Facebook does delays that are pretty dramatic, and that's fine. I'm not that worried. So if I put my vanishing point here, Now, street heads this way. The buildings go off into a distance like this. Right? And we've got the end of the block here. Right? Put some of these buildings in like this. But this is kind of one of the reasons why I like to use 3D programs. I've already spent like 15 minutes just trying to get this squared away. But it's okay. Sometimes it's good to just do the fundamentals, right? Just do the pieces that need to be done in fundamental mode. Even if it drives you absolutely bonkers because you did it wrong. Let's try this again. Got the road. I'm going off into Nowheresville. Here's the end of the block. Right here. Well, I mean, I could always say, just so you guys can totally tell. Well, I wonder if I could put a clock up there. Maybe I could. Hang on. Like, do this. And you guys could tell exactly what time it is. There you go. You can now tell exactly when or how many seconds you're lagged out behind us right there. I have a package coming in from Amazon that has more computer-controlled light bulbs. No, I'm not talking to you. It's okay. You be you, boo. It's fine. I've got it under control. Okay. So the end of the block on this street's going to be here, so we know that. So there's not going to be a lot down here. It's going to be on this right-hand side, and we're okay with that. Fascinating. It's funny that we spend all this time geeking out about the time lag. But you know what? That's one of the reasons why you all hang with me, right? Because the time lag fascinates all of us. And we're all like, ooh, let's figure out exactly how many seconds everything is. Okay. Put in some buildings here. And we'll straighten all this stuff out. I know you feel like the vanishing point in the horizon's too low. Well, yes, and the truth is when I set the original vanishing point on this, I set the vanishing point out here, and I have lowered it because this is going to raise our characters. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a sec. Let's put this underneath another one of these. Let's confuse Photoshop. I'm changing everything. But at this point, when we talk about where these characters are going to be, I'm going to have the guy now taking up this section back here, like this. And the girl is going to be in front, taking up this section right here. So I've changed my perspective on where these guys are, so that where they're looking, which will be out like this way, and she's looking this way, we've now got the ability to, like, it looks like we're looking up at them. So from this point of view, that's where we've got. And they're more in front and center on this. Which reminds me, now that we're here, we've got this girl and the guy. Let's talk a little bit about their character design. What do they look like? I know that the girl is going to be like an islander as far as skin color and tone, things like that. Now, the thing about this, though, is do I want to bring them down like this? If so, they're going to be like this in the middle of this picture, or just off-center. Maybe just off-center. They're walking down the street. Maybe they're on one side of the street, right? In fact, I kind of like this. If they're offset, this gives me a little bit more, like, room to grow with this. So, if I'm looking at this correctly, then that's probably what we're doing here. We're going to do a little bit more like here. She's not a very big person, so let's put that in here like this. And I'm just working in the basic shapes. This will tell me where things are. Now, looking at her shoulders are cantered like this. This is like this. And maybe she's holding her arms across her body like this, because this is very disturbing. And maybe putting her arms up on her shoulders like this. I mean, the world is kind of trashed here. I don't think either one of these characters is prepared for this. So we're going to move her neck over just a little bit here. Let's talk about a dark color so I can see what's going on, right? Move across here. So maybe not here. I don't think it'll be here. That's not what I think. Okay. Let's go here. This safety blanket holding effect is where you cross your arms across your chest and huddle in. So, if you're wondering what that sound was, that was me actually trying to do this to see what my body is doing in response to this. Because that's, hey, first rule of all art, you have a model, use them. That model is you. Okay, so we're moving here like this. There we go. So that's good. Move on here. Right. Anywhere. The book specifically says she doesn't have, or she's thin-waisted and thin-hipped, as all of the Pacific Islanders are naturally. There was sarcasm there. Everybody's different, obviously. But I think the commentary was that this particular character, actually, that sounded much more like a criticism of the author, and it wasn't supposed to be at all. Of course, naturally. I'm just being snarky today. I'm not having a good day. This seems to be kind of a day of mishaps and misalignments for me. I feel like having to restart my computer is a disruptive force for the morning here. Okay. Now I'm going to have to... One of the most important hotkeys ever, Control-H. Control-H hides everything. Because here I'm looking at this and I'm noticing that I've got a discrepancy between the top half of her body and the bottom half of her body. So I'm going to sort of disassemble or disseminate these things into two groups so that I can get a better feel of what's going on. When I feel like the drawing isn't solid on the bottom half, in this case, feeling like her arms are not in correct perspective. I feel like her hips are not in the correct perspective. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix both of those. But I'm going to make sure all my elements are straight first. So I'm going to go back to my first color here. I'm going to look just at the block that is her chest. Right? This block represents where her chest is. So we'll take a look at just the block here. And I already see that I'm off by a lot. So, part of this is that if she were to wear, let's just say, one of those crop top tank tops, it would end up here in the top part of her body, right here. Right, so we'll want to box in where that part of the anatomy is. There we go. And this at least allows me to see. I'm really liking the head. The head turned out really nice. I think even the positioning here is going to be okay. But I want to also examine her body language, right? Because if we look at her body language, she should be. If I were to draw this the way that it's kind of going out, she's going to look cocky and arrogant, like she's posing for a picture up here. We really don't want that. We want to change her body language. She's terrified. She's frightened. This is very scary. This is a bizarre situation she's in. So what we want is we want to exaggerate in this body language. So we're going to kind of curve this box like this. Right? There we go. The body language that she should be showing is more like this, with her spine. Like she's looking up suddenly. Music's going super distracting. Well, that's irritating. That's not the point. Let me go over here and check to make sure that it's on line in. Because sometimes it's not. And sometimes... Yeah, there we go. That should make it a little bit better. Sometimes it does, like, this inconsistent... Well, and I don't think... I mean, part of this, I think, is that... well, here, I can move the microphone closer to me. Then it's not a problem, right? Or rather, it is a problem, but it's a different problem. I have an interesting problem that's brewing right here. My microphone stand lives right at the bottom where the legs of my desk are. So either I put the microphone stand on the other side of the legs, at which time it's too far for whenever I'm turned to face the camera, I end up way over here. And that's part of the problem. And so I can bring it back so that I'm really, really close to the microphone when I'm drawing, but I'm going to be inconsistent whenever I'm talking to the camera. I guess really the truth, though, if you think about it, I spend a lot more time at my desk drawing on these things than talking to the camera. So maybe it's not a bad deal. I don't know. But you guys should be hearing at least some music to the background there. Okay. I'm actually going to see what I can do to fix this. Hang on. All right. I'm going to move my microphone stand on the other side here. Be a lot of noise. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Sorry. There we go. Move it there. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to loop it back around because it kind of got itself hooked up there. And now I can aim it straight at me while I'm working. I'll even move. See you later, David. Have a good day, man. Hope to see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me. There we go. That should make things a little easier. It's not going to help whenever we're doing... it's not going to help whenever I'm turned towards the camera because now it's going to be directly behind me. But for the here and now, this should be a little bit better whenever I'm actually at the desk drawing. So, all right. Which... You know, I mean, honestly, if you think about this, that's what I spend most of my time doing, right? I mean, I'm spending most of my time drawing, so this should be the way it goes. Okay. Back to where we were. When we think about how this person is set up, right? We've got a head, we've got the body, the backbone. The backbone's going to be bowed over like this, right? And she's looking up and looking sideways. But from the side view, this is what her body looks like. She's sort of in refugee status in the story. She's not doing well. Here's her shoulders, right, and her hip down here. But she's going to have, her stomach's going to be folded over like this, and her chest is folded down like this. And then she's got her arms wrapped around her like this. So what we're really looking for here is this in the forward view. So looking at that, we know that her collarbone and chest is going to be, apparently offset. Let's not do that. I think I have gotten way too caught up with the lines that are behind her here, and I think I'm confusing myself, right? So all I'm really doing here is confusing myself. We know we want to keep all of that, right? So let's do this the right way. We're okay with her head being like this, right? Well, that means that this movable mass needs to be like this. And then her stomach will be like this. And then we'll do this like this. There. And if we draw the lines connecting all of these things, we can see that all of the dynamics work. They don't work. Well, fix it, Guy. I'll fix it. I'll fix it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. I am sadly afraid I'm going to have to dump this entire... I'm going to have to delete her. I should have done the skeleton run before... I think I was just in too much of a hurry, which is alright. Let's go ahead and erase that. We'll do each of these guys on their own. Alright. I'm just going to straighten this guy out. He's just straight up standing here looking to one side. So he's not your problem. Right? Alright. We're not going to worry about him just yet. We're worrying more about her. Because I think maybe what I needed is this. People don't generally look up when they're this closed down. I think that's part of our problem here. And you guys might notice that I am, to some degree, being honest to my vanishing point, right? And this guy kind of heads off to the vanishing point. This guy kind of heads off to the vanishing point. And they're actually not. They're going to head off to a zone right about here because her hip is tilted forward. I've rotated the hip this way. So because of that, that's going to tilt this line and this line down below the vanishing point. But even though it does, I'm going to try to make the lines still meet along this area. So right? But I feel like, so in the story, this particular character is displaced in time. So she starts out in like 300 AD or something. And then suddenly she's in 2300 post-apocalyptic universe. I mean, she's seeing things she's never seen before. I mean, she's seeing cars and airplanes, and except that they're all destroyed, right? So this is part of what goes on here. Is that there we go. So what she really should be doing is looking this way, like almost right at us, except she's not looking right at us. Right? Let's try here. And then have her eyes looking like this. Right? Then it's like she looks very concerned and worried. Like, what the hell is this place? Right? Then I can, wow, she just became huge so fast, and that was not important, not what I wanted. Right? And as long as this rolls forward, this part of her chest, she'll look hunched over. And I'll put this shoulder here and this shoulder here. Right? She's conserving. She's putting everything into a small mode. Right? So there's one elbow, and here's her other elbow. And she's going to be pressing her chest together. Right? There we go. I think this is the body language I was after to begin with, right? I have that cheesecake problem all the time. Why did I do that? What was I thinking? There we go. Now we're just defining this, right? We're defining this entire area. And even though she's hunched over, her back still has a curve as we go that way. And she's small enough that hunched over is going to pull the shoulder bones up. Right? Feel like now what we've got is more of a protective feel. And that's maybe pushing this too far. And the reason I say that is now we kind of have a character that looks like she's been attacked or something, and that's probably too far down. Right? So now I'm looking at her body language, and what does the body language read to me? The body language here reads to me that she's been attacked or hurt, probably by the guy behind her. So maybe I'm not doing this right. Maybe we should head a different direction. And maybe I should bend her spine back up. And instead of going for this sort of setup, go more like she's standing up straight, but still looks, I mean, she's a kid, so still having her spine bent like this makes sense. She's a kid to some degree. But then she still has her arms crossed like that, and then give her this quizzical look to one side, which that's probably a better choice. Instead of this maneuver, which makes her look more like she's been attacked or she's been hurt. And I don't think I want to go with she's been hurt. That's not what we're after here. I think it doesn't help that I haven't put any clothes on her, so it looks like she's without a top. That doesn't help us at all. All right. Back to our initial color. Make sure that we're still honest to our vanishing point. She's much smaller than this guy behind her. Third time's the charm, right, guys? And then we'll put this across here. And what we're doing now is let's be honest to our vanishing point. All right. I'll put her head right here. Like, she doesn't know what to do about all of this. Let's move her chest back, because now we are talking a lot more about she's young, teenagery. Teenagers tend to slouch quite a bit. Still want to hold true to our vanishing point here. There we go. Much better. There we go. Now we'll talk a little bit more about other body connections. Well, let's see what putting in her face helps. There we go. Because now you are... I mean, does this look right? And that's what our next question is. Where are we on this? Does this look right? And we're kind of moving along here. All right. So now let's talk about the cylinders that make up her arms. Right? So now we put in those cylinders to make up the arms. We're really trying to kind of get an idea of what's going on here. What's the shape of this body? And part of this, of course, is that we don't know. Which, by the way, if you guys are all wondering why I'm going through all of this process here, I certainly could have done this all in a 3D program. But for two reasons, I kind of every so often like to do one drawing outside of the 3D program to keep my skills going. Otherwise, I'll just lose these skills. And to prove that I still can. I mean, you know, I use a 3D program to pre-render everything. And can I still do perspective? Can I still do drawings without needing to do the thing with the, can I even do these? am I capable? Am I capable of speaking? Which seems to be the thing I'm having a problem with today. Right? I mean, there we go. Give her long black hair. Which I don't remember whether it said it was curly or not. I'm trying to think of the Islanders I know. Right? The talk drawing interface is having issues. It's like the L cars. Okay. No, her head's too big. I knew that. Had the weirdest dream last night that we were at the convention that I usually work at, and somehow we got Avery Brooks as the guest. And so Avery Brooks, who played Cisco on Deep Space Nine, which the reason I say somehow is because A, he doesn't do conventions, and B, we're an anime con and not a Star Trek con. And so I don't know why we would have Avery Brooks there, but that's okay. We had Avery Brooks, and so we were going to do this event at 7 or at 11 o'clock on Sunday, which was the funeral for Cisco. And I don't know what the whole story was, but the idea was that we were going to have Avery Brooks lie on this like viewing coffin thing, and everybody was going to go by and say their final respects to Cisco. It was so surreal and weird, and I was trying to take pictures of it. Right? NDK. And it's like, we don't do that with NDK. I don't know what but I mean, it's a dream. So what logic do dreams ever have, right? I mean, I guess there's no logic, but it was still like this super weird thing where we were like trying to do this. There we go. And it was like the weirdest dream. And the worst part is I was trying to take pictures for it with like an iPad. And I kept thinking, because he's really, really weird. So why doesn't Avery Brooks do conventions? If you've ever seen any interviews with the guy, he's really strange. And I don't mean in a, I mean, he like, he did an interview with William Shatner, and he sang through the entire interview. He just sang all of his answers. And he didn't actually sing the answers. He like evaded the answers. It was really strange. So Avery is on a different level. He's on a different plane. And I wouldn't even say I have met people who, you know what I would say? I would say it has a lot to do with, I believe that Avery is one of those 160 IQ people. You hit a certain point with your IQ where you detach from the universe. And so I feel like he's one of those 160s. And he's just really smart, but he's so smart that he's like not aware of the social problems going around him or how he looks weird. So I feel like there's like and that's what I think is really happening. Avery is just a really smart fellow, and he's just kind of disconnected. Anyway, and I think that's what's going on. I mean, it's either that or he's brilliantly trolling everybody, which is still a very smart thing to do. Very intelligent, I guess. Not smart necessarily, just intelligent. something an intelligent person would do. But yeah, I mean, he's an interesting fellow. But yeah, I mean, this dream, like, we're trying to convince Avery to get in. Well, and it was almost like vote trolling. Yeah, probably. It was almost like we got him to come to the convention because we were going to do a funeral for Cisco. So we didn't have to convince him to get into this fake coffin. It was really weird. Anyway, TLDR, weird dream I was having. I don't know what was going on here. Yeah, maybe he's just trolling us. And it would be sad if he was trolling. I mean, because that's... But I have never seen, not since the 90s, I haven't seen a straight interview with that guy. I mean, every interview I've seen with Avery has always sort of been strange and odd, even when he's talking about the movie he's working on today or whatever. He's making a lot of money off of Star Trek and things, so I don't think he acts that much anymore. I think he's on stage a lot more these days, which is fine. I wouldn't mind seeing Avery Brooks on stage. Avery Brooks is just an interesting fellow. So I keep trying to head into the collarbones because they tell me where the shoulders are going. The collarbones give your shoulders support and give that muscle group structure. And so that's why when you break a collarbone, you can't move your arm. Which is weird because people are like, well, that's such a strange thing. Except the collarbone moves independently of your ribs. It's not part of your rib cage. It's part of a different structure entirely. So, I should probably give her like a wider face, I feel like. Moving up here. She seems to have a very narrow face right here. I want a different brush. There we go. I have a beloved niece who this person reminds me of now. Which may explain the super curly hair. my niece's hair is unruly and curly and drives her crazy. It makes her angry and mad when she gets up in the morning and has to go to school and has to fight with her hair. And it's very, very entertaining. This coming from a guy who's got very straight hair. Hello, Colleen. I could teach anybody to draw. Drawing is it's a skill. It's a skill. So it's telling the story that's the talent. And actually we've been kind of talking about the anatomy here this entire time of this person. And talking about like collarbone anatomy and things like that. In college, we all have to learn anatomy, which I always thought was funny because, everybody else thought that us art students just like to look at naked people. And I'm like, you don't realize how hard this is. Difficult to do these pictures. Which cracks me up. because of course we'd have to sit there and like draw muscle groups and things like that. But anyway, I'm going to give her more hair like this. Right? Feel like she's young, but she's not that young. I mean, she's not this kind of face I'm setting up to be more of a 10-year-old, and she's more of a late teenager. So I'll do like this. I'll put this eye in here like that. And opening up her eye a little bit more like this. Our eyes get wider when we're a little bit more terrified and a little bit more worried. And this under part right here, that part right there starts to slide up. She's Pacific Islander, Asian, that kind of thing. So she's probably got the epicantral folds in her eyes. And she's got this little divot underneath the eye, which doubles up on Asians and Southeast Asians, especially, which gives a little bit more. It's a read that we can easily read, right? We know that's what that's reading, right under there. So I'll put her nose in right through here. And though she seems to be, I'm just going to go on ahead and draw her lips in like this. Because she's not saying anything. She's just staring off into the distance out here. So let's clean this up right through here. Give her a little bit more of the occipital bone, which is this forward bone on the skull, right through here. And we got this area that's called the orbit and the radius, the orbital bone right through here, which holds your eye in. And also makes it easier, or defines this little like ridge you can see through here. And you can feel it, your eyebrows on it, on this ridge. And you can feel it drop down, and there's two bones. One just above your eye, and then one below your eye. And this bone below your eye is called the maxilla. It runs through here. And it connects, ultimately, it comes around your face, and then your jaw gets locked into that. So that's where your jaw works, underneath that. Like I said, wonderful thing learning anatomy. It's funny how I've had these long discussions with doctors, and they keep saying, how do you know all this? And I'm like, I'm an artist. Like, that's an explanation. That doesn't make any sense. Except that we had to go through all of this to be able to draw. All of this. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I could see that, Brent. Brent's saying he's broken that lower bone. The maxilla underneath your eye. That radius bone. Woo, that's got to be painful. One of my close friend's daughters just broke this bone. She fell off her bike. The bike threw her. And she's 7, so this is going to be a super trauma. Maybe not that bad, but 7-year-olds are, oh my God, that's the end of the world. I'm going to bring up her cheek a little. This is where I tighten up this picture and just kind of go through here, and I'm just looking it over, right? I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Um, and she looks like she's now looking off correctly to that direction, but I still feel like her head's a little big, right? Not only that, I'm now back to feeling like oh, yeah. Bar fights. Here we go. Let's bring her head down a little. Not a whole lot, but some. I'm also looking at this top part of her chest, right? We're not clear on this one. I feel like I don't have a defined purpose on this, right? We were moving back to this design from this design. I'm looking at this and I still feel like this looks too cocky and arrogant, right? She looks kind of like she's posing for a picture here. So I want to still roll her. I'm going to have to roll her shoulders forward more. And I want her shoulders back. So I'm going to take this structure up here and roll it forward. We're just going to roll across the collarbone. Right? Still want this hunched up right through here. This is how we tell that someone is, the tension is in that shoulder, the shoulder blades right here, right? And this is going to really strengthen the structure across here, right? That's how this all works. You can read that body language. You can see it right here. And a very striking structure up there. It's gotten rougher and rougher and rougher, right? She brings this in, and that brings up this arm until you have it like that. There we go. So bringing in her arms like this, you can see how that's tightened this up. She looks a lot more stressed out. Right? Like, here we go. She's much more stressed out now. And she might even put this arm up. People tend to not... Well, see, now we're back to... She looks like she's been molested, and I don't want to do that. This arm is telling us a lot in this body language. It's this arm right here. If I bring her... There we go. She hasn't been attacked. She's just finding this to be a little overwhelming. Right? That's what we've got here. She's just finding this to be a little bit overwhelming. Now her body language reads a little bit more. That's my thought too. I'm actually just going to raise her hand up. She might be in the middle of just like rubbing her arm a little. Like when we're uncomfortable, we do the same body language as cold. It's the same body language. It's conserving. It's bringing the body in, and things like that. So my thought is that, she's just doing that. I feel like this elbow is part of our problem. There we go. And that brings this entire frame up. Right? There we go. Maybe we will bring it up just a smidge. Like this. Right? So, I was making fun of myself yesterday for coming up with stories as to what's going on in the picture, but the truth of the matter is, as an artist, that's kind of one of your jobs, is to figure out what's the story behind this piece. Right? I mean, we're doing sort of we're looking at her. We want her to look worried and concerned, but she's not attacked. She wasn't attacked by this guy. So we really don't want that to come across as attacked. Also, we should probably save this as. That's the wrong place. Run. And then we will do 002 as a PDF. This is the second ilio. And there we go. So remember how one line can change the indication of everything? We need a line here and not that one. That's so funny. I get a kick out of things like that. And actually, we probably even need it in just a hair further right there. Right? And all that dot's doing is defining the left side of the breast, which has been folded up through here. So now she's protecting that entire area. Not an uncommon thing for people to do. Your heart is here, your lungs are here, all of your vital organs are right here. So anytime you're feeling insecure or uncomfortable, you have more of a tendency to try to protect that area. Women's breasts are there. That's much more likely to be of a dangerous area and more likely to want to bring in the entire structure of the body. So go through here. Let's redesign what we're doing with that. I hope this is informative today. Sometimes I feel like we have weird shows where we just talk about spaceships, and sometimes we talk about anatomy, and I find that trying to figure out what this show is about is difficult. That's all right. There are so many things, my dear friend, that I did in my younger years that I look back on and I think, I'm still alive. How did that happen? You know what I mean? How did that occur? How exactly did I manage to live through my 20s? Terry would be one of the... Hello, Terry. You would definitely, Dr. Ken's father, be one of the people I was referring to. When I start talking about anatomy and doctors are like, how do you know all this stuff? And it's because we had to study it in school. Welcome aboard, Terry. Terry is a friend of the family and a dear beloved Trekkie friend of mine. She's one of the friends of the family who get me. They get me whenever I start going on about Star Trek. Many of my family members are like, oh, okay. But Terry gets me. Good to see you aboard. I hope everything is doing well in your practice. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about, I'm going to swap layers here. I'm going to bring this guy forward. Because now that I feel like, oh, that's good. I'm glad you could join me. And look at the rocket. I love rockets. Rockets are the best. Hey, Terry, did you get to see DM2 launch? Safe and busy is good. Hope you stay that way, my friend. I really hope you stay that way. Okay, let's talk about this guy. He is a much larger individual. And I'm actually going to, let's true to my vanishing point. I've got to stay true to my vanishing point. So my vanishing point's right over here. So since he's going to be much taller. Ooh, I'm in the wrong pen. He's going to be much taller. I'm going to have him up here, right? He's towering over her. Right? So we'll bring in the skull through here. And then again, talking a little bit about Bridgman's movable masses. Right? The chest, that large piece of the chest here is going to be huge on this guy. Much bigger than her. He also, the character of his is sort of godlike in some way. Like an ancient god. To some degree. So I'm not going to have him conserving like she is. He is just going to be marveling over what's going on out here. Wow, what'd you guys all do? You guys kind of suck. This whole keeping the planet going thing, right? So we're looking at, he's going to be like this, but again, we still want to be true to our vanishing point, which is right here. So we'll be true to our vanishing point. There we go. Much bigger, much rounder. Bring that back around the back of the like the deltoid muscles and across there. There we go. And up across. Because the deltoids are going to go all the way over and he's going to have huge deltoids. Genetics. So many jokes. So little time. Yay! I'm glad you watched the Dragon Watch. I think they're calling it Endeavor now. I think the crew like hijacked it, called it Endeavor. Okay, biceps, triceps. So we don't need to worry that much about this arm over here. But certainly this guy's like, wow, right? He's looking this way. Boy, I made him like Arnold, didn't I? I don't know if I feel like he's an Arnoldish sort of guy. These are pretty big muscle groups, but I don't think they're that big. Let's see here. All right, up and across the chest and through here and across the back. Spine's going to be right about here. Still kind of bowed a little bit. And then we're going to talk about the pelvis. The pelvis is another huge group for a human, although men don't have as much. Their center of balance is up here, whereas her center of balance is going to be down there. A lot more. Everything when you draw men, everything, they're like a triangle like this. Women are double triangles because their center of balance is right here. Men's center of balance is really high. That's how you can throw men in martial arts. Right? Throwing men is a lot easier than it is to throw women in martial arts. You have to get much lower to throw a woman. And you have to get underneath that center of balance, and that center of balance point's here. We had, in our martial arts class, we used to have kunoichi, who were female ninja training. And they were so difficult to throw. It's part of the reason I think my back hates me today. It's because of that. Cranial slope right through here. Again, that maxilla bone there. Going in through this section here. To the nose. He's going to be looking more this way. So right now he looks all like impenetrable, like some kind of statue. It's very funny. Holding it true to the vanishing point. So when we started this, I said I'd moved my vanishing point down, which was going to change the dynamics of the characters. And now we're hitting the point where it actually does change the dynamics of the characters, and I'm very entertained by it. I mean, this is exactly what I was headed for, right? I mean, he's going to be huge here now. There we go. Put that leg in there. And if we put this below there, this is where we are at this point. Kind of taking a look at the dynamics of this and where we are. We've changed a lot from this particular picture, but we've still got the same principle going. Right? So we're still kind of working on, is this the pose that I want him to be in? He's a little easier to deal with than she is. But I mean, I'm trying to like fit the book. And it's difficult for you guys. So, Terry, if you're wondering what I'm doing here, these are internal illustrations for a novel. It is actually a novel. I don't think it's a novella. Published by a company called Airship 27, which does sort of retro stuff. So they've commissioned me in for this piece and for the internal ilios on these on this book, which is great. But I'm trying to I've read the book and now I'm trying to make it fit. The protagonists on this particular book are this fellow who is some kind of some kind of like an elder god of some sort, and this young lady who is displaced in time, and she's a Pacific Islander who has gotten stuck, and they're both stuck in this post-apocalyptic world. So this is the first true illustration that we've got of the two characters in the story. So I'm kind of trying to establish what they look like and who they are, and I'm trying to figure out whether he is really that terror or not. So I was saying earlier, I usually will use a 3D program, but I feel like a couple of things happen with a 3D program that aren't necessarily that good. One of them is I don't feel like I get as much life out of these pictures as I do when I use this old method. So I can talk a little bit more about where the body is and the body design and things like that, and get an idea of what the body is doing. And here we go. So we're going to have this arm here, his hand. Hands always come to the mid-thigh. So I think he's just looking. I don't know exactly what's going on here. I think part of the reason why I'm having difficulty with this guy, well, twofold. One, he might be just a little too big. Right. He might be just a little too big. Let's bring him down. I mean, he's a big guy. I presume. But he's not that much bigger than her. Our angle is somewhat dramatic, but we want to make sure that it's not that dramatic. Okay, so let's move in on his face. Moving in on his face up here, I'm going to switch colors. He too is somewhat shocked by what's going on out here. Wow. He's been around for a little while in this story. So maybe he's not that shocked. I don't know. He may not be. He may not be that shocked. Actually, I realized that earlier in this story he was already sort of... And maybe, you know what? Maybe he's looking at her. Maybe that's not a bad idea. Maybe he's not shocked as much as he's concerned about her. Right? Maybe we used the wrong color. Here we go. Okay, maybe we're doing this. Got about 10 minutes left. Elio's 4 novels I spend quite a bit of time on trying to do this. Let's bring his head back a little bit further. There we go. Okay. Let's talk a little bit here. Let's talk turkey. Right? So we're going to put the cross on the head. That helps us identify where the eyes are and tells me that, oh, look, he's Iron Man. Okay, I'm funny. I know. You're like, look, Iron Man. Okay. Stop being silly, guy. You have work to do. Time's running out. Okay. Going back here. The thing is, Iron Man makes for a great... As much as I'm joking about Iron Man, there's some very... The face mask of Iron Man is wonderful for just marking out the spots on the face. It's got your temple marked in. And it's got across the front, it's got the mouth marked in very nicely. There's a certain amount of awesome to that. I am absolutely sure that was no accident. Artists love it whenever we've got a thing that's easy to draw, especially production artists. We've got a lot of... I'm going to give him caring eyes. I mean, like these things, you've already seen me spend 2 hours on just the blue line, and we're not even done yet, right? He's getting a little worried about her, right? That's what we'll do here. He's getting worried about her. Now he just looks depressed. Okay, toe the line in. Toe this line in. This eye needs to be focused. There we go. Otherwise, he looks totally depressed. Oh, no. Practice. It's like everything. We just practice a lot. A whole lot. You put your energies in a different location. There's nothing wrong with that. It's totally fine. Think about things like, the number of hours that, say, for example, an MD has to put in. It's a lot of hours. All right? Looks totally depressed. Okay. So I want him to look concerned, not depressed. So this is where we're going to, you bring the eyebrows down, because these are depressors right through here, these muscle groups. And bring the eyebrows down. But the way that the muscle groups do is they push here and they push here when you're concerned. And so we're taking only those groups and pushing down. He's looking worried. Right? Feel kind of like we've got something weird going on. Well, that would make some sense, Terry. So, Terry is one of about 4 MDs that I know. And the number of hours that you got, yeah, I know. Yeah, that's a good point. You're practicing medicine. You're practicing, and I find that fascinating. But I know about 4 MDs, and they all, I'm always so amazed by their work. I mean, just the things, and Terry, you have to practice, but you can't make a mistake. Right? I mean, that's what's so brutal. It's a brutal thing. I do not envy you. I make a mistake here. We can correct it. There we go. Just like this, right? There's no Control Z in medicine. Oh, man. I'm really glad you joined me today, Terry. Thank you very much. Okay, through to the collarbone. Through to the collarbone. Let's make sure our collarbones meet. Like I said, this supports the structure of his arm, so it's kind of important. He's got these huge arms. Probably should have some good structure up there. Also, I feel like no ratios, no do-overs. That's right. And thank you. I'm glad you enjoy my art. I'm hoping that this is giving people, a little bit of, just some calmness in the day. Watch somebody draw. Little calmness in the craziness of the day. We're going to have to figure out what to do now. I think I'm going to pretty much just have to put this guy on hold until tomorrow, because we're coming up on the end of the show. Kind of a bummer. Enjoying this. There we go. No, Brent, you are not chopped liver, and you know it. You know I love you, man. You know I love you. You're here every day, keeping me company. All right. So I'll go on ahead and hit the save button. Make sure it's saved in. Would really suck to lose all that work after all this. Okay, guys. So that's pretty much where we are at this point. Wow. I wasn't really on my game today because it took 2 hours to get a blue line in, which that's a little bit slow for me. I should usually go a little faster than that, but that's okay. We're doing fine. Things are doing well. Looks like the clouds are rolling in outside. It's kind of nice. Could stand to not have blistering heat. Yes, it is, Terry. This is every day. I do this every day. If you like my GS Davis page, which is my art page, you can type in GS Davis art, and I think it finds me through that too. It usually comes up front and center with that one. So you can, hey, Tanya's here. Tanya just got here for the last few seconds of the show. But I broadcast from 10 to noon every day Mountain Time, which would be 11 to 1 your time. So this is a good thing. Hi, Tanya. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. And we could do more cat girls now that Tanya's here, because that's a thing. So if I ever need a requests. So, but yeah, it's, you can see me tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow for this too. Kind of bummed you guys, are going to show up at the last second. But that's okay. I'll be here tomorrow morning. Tanya, for you, I'll be here tomorrow morning at 10. Dr. Ken's father, I'll be here tomorrow at 11 for you. And Brent, I know you'll be with me, man. Appreciate that. Okay, well, I think that's about what we're going to do today. We'll come back to this piece. Tomorrow, I think we're going to also be working on a couple of other pieces. Oh, there you go. Yep, working. Yeah, we're all working, man. So there you go. I appreciate you guys all being with me. It's 12 o'clock now. I'm going to go head to lunch, figure out what to do with my kid, because that's a thing. We'll see. Well, yeah, you'll be here every day, but, when you start your job, you do you. We'll figure it out. I know you'll join me again. And you can always hang with Geek Tank at night. So, it's not like you're going to leave us forever. It's all good. Thanks, guys, for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow, and hopefully I won't have to reboot my computer system in the middle of this. I'll have my tablet and everything running. And I'll see you guys later. Until then, live long and prosper.